2018. The time is 8 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Newton is absent. Councilman Seaton.
Here.
Councilman Voigt.
Here.
Councilwoman Walsh.
Here.
Mayor Hache.
Here. Please stand for the flag salute. Please join us for a moment of silence in honor of the brave men and women serving in our nation's armed forces and as first responders. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. Acceptance of financial reports. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of July 31st, 2018 be accepted as submitted.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. Approval of minutes. I move that the Village Council minutes of July 1st and July 11th, 2018, having been reviewed by the Village Council and now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. We have some proclamations tonight. The first one, Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over, 2018 statewide crackdown. Councilman Seaton.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas approximately 1/3 of all traffic crash fatalities in the United States involve drunk drivers with blood alcohol concentrations, BACs, of 0.08 or higher. In 2016, there were 10,497 people killed in these preventable crashes. In fact, on average, more than 10,000 people have died each year, 2012 to 2016, in drunk driving crashes. To put it in perspective, that's equal to about 20 jumbo jets crashing with no survivors. And whereas in 2016, almost 1 in 5 children, 14 and younger, killed in traffic crashes were killed in drunk driving crashes. 54% of the time, it was the child's own driver who was drunk. And whereas it is illegal to drive with a BAC of 0.08 or higher in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, no exceptions. And whereas despite the fact that it's illegal to drive with a BAC of 0.08 or higher, one person is killed every 50 minutes by a drunk driver on our nation's roads. And whereas during the 2016 Labor Day holiday, 36% of fatalities in traffic crashes involved a drunk driver, which is one of the lowest percentages over the 5-year period from 2012 to 2016. And whereas in 2016, motorcycle riders involved, killed, and survived in fatal crashes had higher percentages of alcohol impairment than any other type of motor vehicle driver. 25% of motorcycle riders, 21% of passenger cars, 20% for light truck drivers, and 2% for drivers of large trucks. And whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our nation's roadways. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council, the Village of Ridgewood, pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of drunk driving through their support of the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2018 enforcement campaign, August 17th through September 3rd, 2018 in the Village of Ridgewood, and ask that all residents join together in supporting this initiative.
Thank you. And now to read the proclamation, declare September Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Councilwoman Walsh.
Whereas ovarian cancer is called the silent killer because its symptoms are often vague or subtle, making ovarian cancer a leading cause of cancer death among women and the leading cause of gynecological cancer death in the United States. And whereas more than 20,000 women in the United States are diagnosed in the early stages of the disease, and approximately 15,000 women die from it each year. And whereas the Kaleidoscope of Hope Foundation, KOH, a local nonprofit group founded by Gail McNeil of Chatham Township, who was inspired by her own experiences, raises funds for ovarian cancer research and increases awareness of the disease and its symptoms, and wishes to remind the public that September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. And whereas KOH has partnered with the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition, NOCC, to support the Turn the Towns Teal campaign. And whereas there is no early detection test for ovarian cancer, which is why the Turn the Towns Teal campaign is so very critical in promoting awareness of the symptoms of ovarian cancer, fighting the disease, and supporting the women who bravely carry on the fight. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood calls upon citizens to raise ovarian cancer awareness, which will help Americans live longer, healthier lives, and hereby proclaims September 2018 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, as we rededicate ourselves to the pursuit of new and better ways to prevent, detect, and treat this devastating disease.
Thank you. Proclamation declaring September National Preparedness Month. Councilman Voigt.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas National Preparedness Month creates an important opportunity for every resident of the Village of Ridgewood to prepare their homes, businesses, schools, institutions of higher learning, houses of worship, and community-based organizations for any type of emergency, including natural disasters and potential terrorist attacks. And whereas investing in preparedness can reduce fatalities and economic devastation in our communities and in our nation, whether the emergency is large-scale or a smaller local event. And whereas National Preparedness Month is a part of a governmental effort to have federal, state, local, tribal, territorial, private, and volunteer agencies working to increase public activities in preparing for emergencies and to educate individuals on how to take action. And whereas emergency preparedness is a personal responsibility and every resident of the village is urged to make preparedness a priority. And whereas the 2018 National Preparedness Month theme, Disasters Happen, Prepare Now, Learn How, encourages residents to take time to learn life-saving skills such as CPR and first aid, check their insurance policies for hazards such as flooding, and consider the costs associated with disasters, and save for an emergency. And whereas disaster preparedness, response and recovery requires the efforts of the entire village. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood, Bergen County, New Jersey, hereby proclaims September 2018 as National Preparedness Month and encourages all residents and businesses to prepare now for future emergencies and to work together to create a better prepared community.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we go to public comments, not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Good evening.
Good evening. Cynthia Hallaby, 374 Evergreen Place. I'm here really as a follow-up. There was an article on the front page of the Ridgewood News about the train station parking, and I'm here yet again to talk about that. It's very dear to my heart. I speak to you first as president of the Conservancy for Ridgewood Public Lands. We have worked hard to do great things to enhance many of our Ridgewood public parks. And yet again, I urge you to hold off spending your time on this project to eliminate the train station plaza. As I have stated many times before, this is a historic area, however small. It has been here since before the village was incorporated. It was there when the train station was built over 100 years ago, and it is a link between the west and the east side of town. It is the only green area. It's a very underutilized green space. It's a little area that could be turned into a delightful pocket park that could have great use. I did send you a letter over the weekend. I was inspired from reading an article in the Financial Times where it talks about London and all the little tiny, I think it says scrappy pieces of grass that are used for events throughout the summer. So that this is something I think is important. It's an area that could be transformed with lighting in the trees. It could have benches and carefully chosen plantings. I also question this statement that 14 mature trees are going to be cut down because they are in ill health. Why are they standing? Why have they not been cut down if they're in ill health? Are they not a danger? I was very surprised when Chris Rudischauser was quoted with that. And when I speak as a taxpayer, first of all, it was $200,000, then it was $300,000, now it's $330,000. So I would like some assurance that it's not going to go up to $500,000. It just keeps on escalating, and they haven't even started the work, thank God. I would like you to hold off until you see what happens after the Hudson Street parking is settled and built, our long-awaited garage. And then perhaps it would be a good opportunity for you to tackle the town garage. We've heard that that area is contaminating the ground, and it would be ideal parking. It would be convenient for residents, it would be convenient for shoppers and for commuters. So I urge you to take one step at a time and just not obliterate this area, because once you have tarmacked it and cemented it over, there's absolutely no recourse. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
My name is Jane Reimer. I live at 20 Ethelbert Place in Ridgewood. This summer, I had occasion to pass Graydon Pool every day at different hours during the day. On each trip, I observed our summer day camp in session, and I was really impressed by what I saw and very proud. Hundreds of children were organized into groups, and they seemed to respect their counselors and stay with their group, whether it was crossing Linwood Avenue safely, sharing Vets Field, or taking part in Graydon itself. And the children always looked happy. I would like to acknowledge and thank our Parks and Recreation Department and the camp counselors for the very commendable job they did. It's just another reason to be proud of Ridgewood. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. Continuing on the subject of Graydon Pool, I've been up here at least once this summer season and told you how wonderful the pool is. The water is crystal clear. It's been crystal clear 90% of the time that I've been there. Staff has been very helpful. Snack bar has been great. Everything has looked very well. However, I must say that many Graydon Pool members were very disappointed by the events of this past Saturday, August 4th. And that was that a rainstorm came in the morning. It was completely over by 9:15 a.m., but yet the pool was closed all day long on 90-degree sunny weather. I went over to the pool on 3 occasions that day and noticed that there was no evidence that the Hohokus Brook had flooded the pool. There was some minor flooding in the parking lot that dissipated by 9:30 a.m. and left a little bit of mud behind, but there was no evidence of any damage to the pool whatsoever. So many of us were puzzled as to why the pool was closed all day long. And I believe this was the second time it happened this year that an early morning storm resulted in closure of the pool throughout the day. I also note that the pool in Allendale, Crestwood Lake, which is also a sand bottom pool, opened at 1 p.m. that day. The Memorial Park pool in Fairlawn, or the Memorial Pool in Fairlawn, which is also a sand bottom pool, was open that day, and the Hawthorne Municipal Pool was open that day. So we just don't know why there couldn't have been a delayed opening that day. At 9:15, the storm was over, the sun came out, and it was 90 degrees by about 11 o'clock. It was a Saturday, an August Saturday. Many people were around wanting to go to the pool. There was no explanation offered on the village's website as to what happened, nothing on the Parks and Rec's Facebook page as to what happened, and I believe a couple of us sent emails. I know I sent an email to Ms. Maylander concerning a matter about notification of pool closure, and I believe somebody else sent a letter to the council. Nobody has heard back anything as to what actually happened that resulted in the pool being closed all day long when the storm was over by 9:15. So during the manager's report this evening, I'd like to, if possible, hear an update as to what went wrong or what happened. Maybe it wasn't wrong. As I recall, this is the second time this year that that's happened. Just unexplainable to many of the members as to why a whole day at Graydon was shot because of an early morning storm. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, with that, we'll, before we close public comments, I know there were some questions. One question was about the the health of the 14 trees at the train station, and if in fact they're in bad shape, why are they still standing or not cordoned off? I don't know if we have a response for that, Heather, or if we want to get back to, with that.
Yeah,
Yes?
I'll get back to
Okay.
you.
So we'll get back to you with an answer on the condition of the trees and if in fact they are and why they're still standing and there's no warning being issued to the public. The question regarding the closure of Graydon on Saturday, why there couldn't have been a delayed opening, I know that we got a notification that Maple Field right behind it was on flood watch till about 12:30.
Correct.
And I know that Graydon's on your manager's report today, but I don't see anything related to the closures. Do we have an answer?
I can speak to it a little bit. What happened was, it was right at the edge of Maple Park Field. That whole area was flooded, and part of the parking lot was flooded as well. We had flooding here in Village Hall as well. The concern was that if it continued to flood, if the brook or river continued to rise, that it would then go into the pool area, which could have happened. If it did so, then that would contaminate the pool and we'd have to treat it. I think several years ago this happened at a late August storm, and we had to close the pool early for the season because it took a while to actually treat the pool again. So that was the reason for it. We had flooding minimal in Village Hall on Friday actually as well. And that was in our Sallyport as well as a little bit in the employee lunchroom, which actually we've never really had water there. So, you know, we did not know how much longer it was going to rain, and that was the decision that was made by the Parks and Recreation staff.
All right, thank you. All right, so with that, we'll close public comment.
Okay, so the manager's report. I want to make residents aware that Bergen County will be resurfacing East Ridgewood Avenue from Paramus Road to Maple Avenue, weather permitting, in the next few weeks. Tuesday, August 21st through the following Tuesday, August 28th, motorists may be inconvenienced by milling and paving on this street. We ask for your patience and suggest considering alternate routes. All paving work should be completed by the time school starts. The Ridgewood Guild is sponsoring Music in the Night, providing live music throughout the Central Business District on Friday nights through the end of August. Come and enjoy the music as you dine. The Guild is also sponsoring free movies in the park every other Wednesday night in the summer. The last movie of the season, Planet of the Apes, on its 40th anniversary, will be shown on August 22nd at dark. Bring a chair or a blanket and enjoy this tale of three survivors of space travel crash landing on a strange planet ruled by apes. The Cashwell Shell Summer Concert Series will end tomorrow night, August 9th. It's Mac Brandon and The Connection, which is popular gospel. The program begins at 8:30 p.m. If any seniors need transportation to the Cashwell Memorial Shell, please call the manager's office to make a reservation for a free bus ride. Transportation is provided by Age Friendly Ridgewood. The Chamber of Commerce presents Restaurant Week. One is Sunday to Thursday. One week is August 12th to 16th, and the following week, August 19th to 23rd. Each chef is preparing a tantalizing three-course prefix menu at $30.18. There are quite a few restaurants, as well as catering, as well as sweet treats, and wine selections are all participating. So please come out and dine during those times. Graydon Pool late season hours starts August 13th through Labor Day, September 3rd. Weekday hours are noon to 7:30 p.m. and weekends, holidays, 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Late season membership badges are available now to the end of the season. Adults 16 to 61 years is $60, and children 2 to 15 years, $55. Ridgewood Recreation has a wide variety of camps available this summer for all ages, from tennis instruction to golf to abracadoodle to engineering and robotics to lacrosse. So please check out our additional summer camps, which will run through the end of August. I also want to remind everyone that we have summer discount tickets to various popular recreational destinations, such as Hershey Park, Six Flags Great Adventure, Wild Safari, Dorney Park, and Wildwater Kingdom, Medieval Times, the Crayola Experience, And so if you'd like to visit any of those locations, please come to the Parks and Recreation Department at the stable to get your discount tickets. Thinking forward to September, I just want to remind everyone village offices will be closed Monday, September 3rd in observance of Labor Day. The next village council meeting will be Wednesday, September 5th at 7:30 p.m., which is a work session. The 25th Chamber of Commerce Car Show will take place, rain or shine, on Friday, September 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. This show is known as the best evening car show in our area. Last month, we had a resident with several questions about posts she had seen on social media that were asked about Health Barn. I do want to answer those questions this evening. One was, do the number of visitors and children exceed the fire code at Health Barn? They do not exceed the fire code. Are the types and sizes of buses going to Health Barn allowed under the lease? The types and sizes of buses going into the park are allowed, and there has been a transportation policy developed by the village to administer the drop-off and pick-up schedules and parking related to all buses at the park. The quarterly reports from Health Barn have a transportation report that indicates the size of the bus and the number of people on the bus. For example, in the report for the first quarter of 2018, there were 23 school field trips with approximately 95% of them using one small bus. One field trip had 2 small buses, and one field trip had 3 small buses, and there were 10 to 12 students on each bus. The buses park at the Graydon Pool parking lot unless it's a minibus or a van, in which case it parks in the Habernickel Park parking lot for the duration of the field trip. The next question was, is Health Barn using space beyond that which is allowed in the lease? Health Barn is not using space beyond the lease. In fact, part of the teaching garden has space for community gardens for Ridgewood residents, and they plant their various things in that same space. Does a vehicle parked overnight mean someone is sleeping there? Actually, a vehicle parked at the site overnight indicates the director of Health Barn is away from the facility, has taken mass transit to her home, or is away at a conference. As the lease states in Section H, quote, 3 staff parking spaces shall be allocated to the exclusive use of the tenant in the gatehouse, garage, driveway, end quote. No one has ever spent an evening overnight, and there's actually no bed in the house at all. What is the village's policy on allowing consumption of alcohol in public parks? The Village of Ridgewood allows consumption of alcohol in public parks for various events with a one-day liquor license. In these cases, there is a charge for the alcohol being served. Health Barn holds various chefs' events or private parties where the patrons bring in their own alcoholic beverages. No alcohol is provided or served by Health Barn, and Green Acres does not have an objection to this practice at Health Barn. In addition, it should be noted that Health Barn is a sanctioned program under the auspices of the Parks and Recreation Department, and there is a continual conversation and supervision with the Health Barn staff and the administration of the village. This includes the Director of Parks and Recreation as well as other village staff involved in operations and maintaining the facility. The Director of Parks and Recreation visits and observes the activity at Habernickel Park every workday and most weekends at her leisure, since she is actually a neighbor of Habernickel Park. In addition, I want to tell you that Health Barn and their activities have been sanctioned by Green Acres, because obviously the Habernickel Park was bought with Green Acres money. In addition, Health Barn is inspected by the Village Health Department, and Green Acres has conducted unannounced site visits at Health Barn, and both entities have always found that Health Barn is in compliance. I think that's, hold on one second, I just want to make sure I don't have anything else. The only other thing I do want to report on, we did report on it and discuss it, is our new parking times and meter rates. So effective September 4th, meter times Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is what it is currently for Saturdays. Meter rates for all meters will be 75 cents an hour. The duration of all meters are 3 hours, except the Cottage Place parking lot, which will now be 11 hours. That was always the long-term parking lot at 8 hours. It's now 11 hours. We do have CBD employee parking spaces in both the Cottage Place and the Walnut Street lot. We will be doing evaluations of whether there should be more or fewer CBD parking places over the next few months. We're extending our parking kiosk pilot program. We do have one parking kiosk in Chestnut Street lot, which we've had for a while. We're going to extend it to the Cottage Place parking lot and the Cottage Place Annex, which is between the Gap and Gilsenan and Company Real Estate, both sides of North Broad Street as well. So in this case, the heads of the meters will be removed, the kiosks will be available. You can park still by Park Mobile or go to the kiosk and pay by coin, dollar bills, or credit card. And then effective September 25th, the times in the train station will be up to a 14-hour duration. They were 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It'll be now 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Overnight parking is available in select parking lots for residents living in the CBD, and permits can be obtained there. And it's also 14 hours in the park and ride, which is 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I just wanted to remind everyone of that. That's it.
Thank you. Council reports. Councilman Seaton.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing new to report since last week, so that's my report.
I'm moving. Councilman Walsh.
So I have one report. We had our Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning. I was joined by the village manager and Captain Lyons from the Ridgewood Police Department. And the focus of the conversation was on updating the chamber on what's been going on here with regard to the timing, as Heather just mentioned, the timing of the parking lots, the kiosks that are going to be going in. We gave them an update on the garage, but the focus of the meeting, the majority of the meeting, was on enforcement and how they fully support us enforcing repeat parking in the Central Business District. It was pretty much the whole conversation. It lasted longer than we anticipated, but really they are fully on board with the enforcement. The Ridgewood Police Department is going to have discussions with the village manager as to how they're going to do that, and so we'll hear further about that. The other thing that was a concern for them was how do we educate people to get to the lots, because we talk about changing behavior. So I'm going to work with Joan Groom on some little cards that we're going to put in all of the CBD stores so that anybody going in can pick one up at the front desk, and we'll kind of just start educating them with something that they can put in their pocket or leave in their car so that they know the websites to go to, where all the parking lots are. So if it's somebody new to town that doesn't know where all our lots are, they'll be able to go onto that and, not necessarily at that moment, but maybe at a later date. And it will be a gentle reminder that, we really, if you're going to be here for more than a few minutes or for more than maybe an hour, you should always be thinking about parking in the lot. It'll be easier for everybody. So that was pretty much it. That was the majority of the meeting. Did I leave anything out?
No, I think we may bring some of the ideas from the police department about the repeat parking to our September 5th work session.
Yeah.
And did we share with them the new, the updated timeline from Epic?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Councilman Voigt.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report.
Just have a couple of things to report. Tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. in the Garden Room, we're going to have the CBDAC monthly meeting. We have invited the CBD landlords to come in and have a discussion. I've already had some individual discussions with some, but the idea is to bring the whole group, talk about what are the concerns that they see as commercial property owners. We don't really hear from them much. We hear a lot from the businesses, obviously. We hear a lot from the residents. We don't really hear much from our commercial property owners in town. And the idea is to engage them in a dialogue to see what things we can do to work together for the improvement of the Central Business District. We had the planning board meeting last night. A couple of noteworthy things to talk about. We had the adoption of the memorializing resolution of approval, which is basically the courtesy review for the construction of the granular activated carbon treatment facility for Ridgewood Water at 205 East Glen Avenue. Also had the adoption of the resolution recommending the adoption of the ordinance for the blade signs, which is not going to come back to the council. I'm very happy about that because I think that's going to bring a lot of new life into the look of the downtown. Spec met twice during the month of July. The SPEC is the Site Plan Exemption Committee. There were two applications that were reviewed on July 18th. One was for the Quick Stop liquor store on Godwin Avenue. They were looking to place an ice machine on the westerly side of the building. It was approved once we sorted out some of the issues that they had with the one of the parking spaces on the side of the building. The second application was made by the Church of God World Mission Society on Godwin Avenue. Two issues were addressed. One was, the first was to place several evergreen trees as screening between the church parking lot and the residences on the north side. There was an objection from one of the neighbors that the fence that was being erected was screening, and they had stated a preference for a vegetative barrier. So that was approved. The second issue was regarding the outdoor lighting glare protection and the restriction of hours of lighting for the site plan resolution. There were some concerns by the applicant that the safety of the volunteers making their way to the parked vehicles after 11 p.m., shutdown of the lights in the parking lot. The committee then has now referred this issue back to the full board for guidance on how to proceed. So there was no decision made on the second issue. SPEC met again on July 21st to review three applications. One was for 145 Prospect Street. This was a house that was converted to professional offices many years ago. The applicant was updating the exterior of the building, removing stairs, sidewalks leading to entrances that are no longer in use, and also screening the air conditioning units with shrubbery. That application was approved. Second application was for Bank of America, 25 North Maple Avenue. The work proposed entails modification of the parking lot and private sidewalks for handicapped access. That application was also approved. And the third application was for 5 Robinson Place. The applicant is renovating the 2-story building to accommodate a performing arts school and needs to provide additional means of egress for the second floor per the code. The proposal was for a full-size metal staircase located on the north side of the building, and the recently approved parking lot layout will not be affected, so the application was also approved. And that's all I have.
Okay, so moving on, there are no ordinances for Ridgewood Water. We'll now go to resolutions. The following resolutions, numbered 18-242 through 18-246, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. They will be read by title only. Award partial contract, Southside Reservoir Rehabilitation. Award contract, Ames Tank Rehabilitation. Amend current contract, pipes appurtenances and service materials. Award professional services contract, Passaic Valley Water Commission Pipeline Project, and award professional services contract, W4 license and coverage for Ridgewood Water. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
Now move on to ordinances.
I move the first reading of ordinance 3662.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3662 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-29, Parking Meter Zone Designated.
I move that ordinance 3662 be adopted on first reading and that September 5th, 2018 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3663.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3663 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-65, Schedule 15, Parking Prohibited at All Times, and Section 265-67, Schedule 17, Parking Prohibited Certain Hours.
I move that ordinance 3663 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3664.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3664 by title?
A bond ordinance amending sections 3C1 and 3D, a bond ordinance number 3644 of the Village of Ridgewood in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, finally adopted May 19, 2018, in order to decrease the appropriation and the authorization of bonds and notes in section 3C1 and increase the appropriation and authorization of bonds and notes in section 3D by similar amounts.
I move that ordinance 3664 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3665.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3665 by title?
A bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of a hook lift body with all accessories for the Parks Department in and by the Village of Ridgewood in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriating $58,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 55,000 bonds or notes of the village to finance part of the cost thereof.
I move that ordinance 3665 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3666.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3666 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-74, Schedule 24, bus stops.
I move that ordinance 3666 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3667.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3667 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 190 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Land Use and Development, at Section 190-122H, to permit temporary displays in front of retail establishments.
I move that ordinance 3667 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3668.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3668 by title?
An ordinance of the Village of Ridgewood amending the provisions in Chapter 190 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Land Use and Development concerning the permitted encroachment of steps or stairs in the required setbacks.
I move that ordinance 3668 be adopted on first reading and that September 12th, 2018 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the first reading of ordinance 3669.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. So ordered. Would the clerk please read ordinance 3669 by title?
An ordinance of the Village of Ridgewood amending the provisions in Chapter 190 Land Use and Development concerning the required front yard setback in the B1 and B2 districts.
I move that ordinance 3669 be adopted on first reading and that September 12, 2018 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3653 by title on second read, and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3653?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 263 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, valet parking services, at Section 263-4, operating requirements.
The public hearing is now open. Okay. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3653 be adopted on second reading and final publication is required by law.
Second.
Sedin?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3654 by title and second reading of the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3654?
An ordinance amending Chapter 105 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood entitled Animals to establish a new section to create the position of Municipal Humane Law Enforcement Officer, MHLEO.
The public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yep.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3654 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes, I move the clerk read ordinance 3655 by title and second reading of the public hearing thereon be opened.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3655?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 244 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood entitled Smoking to amend the following sections. Section 244-1 entitled Definitions. Section 244-6 entitled Definitions. Section 244-7 entitled Use or Possession Prohibited. Section 244-10 entitled Definitions. And Section 244-11 entitled Smoking Prohibited.
So the Village Council discussed this ordinance, and it has been decided that the regulation of electronic smoking devices will be considered in a separate ordinance at a later date. Ordinance 3655 will be amended to remove the following wording from the beginning of the ordinance. Be it ordained by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that the following new articles entitled Cannabis Shops and Electronic Vapor Substance Inhalation Shop be established as follows. This is not a substantive change to the ordinance, as it is removing a section that does not pertain to ordinance 3655. Therefore, it may be considered for adoption as amended after the public hearing. At this time, I will accept a motion to amend ordinance 3655 by removing this section of the ordinance.
I move that ordinance 3655 be amended to remove from the beginning of the ordinance the wording indicated by the mayor.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes, the public hearing on ordinance 3655 as amended is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3655, as amended, be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3656 by title and second reading of the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Voight?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3656?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-56, Schedule 6, prohibited turns at intersections.
The public hearing is now open. Good evening.
Rorick Hallaby, 374 Evergreen. I'm looking at 36, excuse me, 56, and I want to make sure I understand that it's to prohibit people leaving Starbucks from taking a left on Franklin. Now, this is another ordinance that I really think has to be enforced. Let people decide what is safe and not safe. There are so many instances all over Ridgewood that when you leave what do you call it, the King's parking lot, you take a left on Maple Avenue going north, so you're going against the traffic. When you leave the King's parking lot and you take a left to go towards Maple, you do that. Also of instances, and why pick on Starbucks? Now, I realize it's safe, and not safe, or it could be safer, but just to pick on one company, which would cause someone to enforce an ordinance, I think doesn't make sense. I would let the people decide. Traffic has a way of taking care of itself. So my suggestion would be not to even worry about it. I don't know enough about traffic flow, but just when I read it, I said, geez, another thing that has to be enforced. Now, one thing, by the way, just on a different subject, as far as the sound quality in this room, Mayor Hache, earn yourself a merit badge. by spending the $10,000 that would improve the quality. And maybe I'm getting older, I'm 78, but I think my ears are pretty good. The quality in this place is just terrible. So please spend whatever it is, 10, 20, 30,000 bucks, and let's have the whole thing. And for that, I'll make sure you get a merit badge, whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello again.
Hello again. Good evening. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. I'm very perplexed about this ordinance. And the reason I'm perplexed is that I went around the CBD and I found 11 instances where there are signs that either say a left turn or a right turn into a driveway or out of a driveway is prohibitive, but I can't find an ordinance on the book that these are enforceable. So, to Mr. Hallaby's point, why are we picking on Starbucks? I agree that there should be no left turn into Starbucks and no left turn out of Starbucks, but there doesn't seem to be any consistency with respect to an ordinance to enforce that. Again, me just walking around found 11 instances of there being posted signs that indicate that you cannot make a left or a right into a driveway or out of a driveway of a privately owned business, but yet no ordinance exists to enforce that. And the TD Bank, right next door to the Starbucks, if you pass this ordinance that says you cannot make a left turn out of the Starbucks driveway, but if you're in the TD Bank driveway, you can. Both, they're right next to one another. Why would you tell people you can't make a left out of Starbucks, but allow people to make a left out of TD Bank? Again, I agree that that's a dangerous spot and you should not be able to make a left out of either facility, but I do think that the engineering department and or the police department needs to go around and identify all of these locations where it is dangerous to make a left or a right and get an ordinance on the books for all of these locations. I don't understand how it was possible to have a sign erected saying you can't do it, but yet no ordinance to back it up. Now, when the deputy mayor was discussing this during a work session, it seems to me what happened is that when these people got zoning approval, the zoning approval was given on the condition that a sign be erected that says no left turn or no right turn, but that information was not passed along to the council, Mr. Rogers or somebody, to make sure that an ordinance went on the books to match the sign. Again, there's no consistency here. I think I talked to Mr. Rogers about this in terms of the opportunity for a lawsuit in the event that somebody gets injured or worse yet killed in a spot where there's a sign but there was no ordinance to enforce it, so the police department didn't enforce it, but yet right next door there's an ordinance on the books. I sent my list to the deputy mayor, Mr. Rogers, Ms. Maylander, and Captain Amoruso. Again, my suggestion is that somebody needs to go around, check out all these spots that you have signs erected, and make sure that there's an ordinance in place so that all these signs can be enforced by the police department. Because this willy-nilly approach to, we've got a sign here at Starbucks, but we've got a sign at the Valley National Bank that's right next door, we're going to enforce people who are making lefts in out of Starbucks and right turn or left turns out of Starbucks, but we're not going to do the same for the Valley National Bank, even though we have signs erected. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. So be happy to share this list with the rest of you if you'd like, but that's my suggestion as it stands now. There's absolutely zero consistency with respect to the signs. My impression is that it leaves us open to potential legal action in the event that there is a serious accident or a death, and I think that we should go around very quickly, identify these locations that it's dangerous to make lefts and right turns because we have a sign that says so, but yet the police department has no ability to enforce the ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3656 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3657 by title on second reading of the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3657?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-56, Schedule 6, prohibited turns at intersections.
The public hearing is now open.
Good evening again. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. The same comments I made for the previous ordinance apply for this, and in particular, I'd like to point out Jersey Mike's. You're going to pass an ordinance now saying that if you are driving north on Maple Avenue, you cannot make a right turn into the exit of Jersey Mike's. You risk a summons if you do so. Right there, right next to the Jersey Mike's exit, is a sign saying that you cannot make a left turn into the Seal Funds exit. There is no ordinance to match that no left turn sign. So you're going to pass an ordinance that has a sign that says no right into Jersey Mike's driveway, and you're going to enforce that by local ordinance, but the sign that says no left into the Seal Funds exit, you have no matching ordinance for that sign. Again, my suggestion is that somebody needs to go around, check out all these signs that you have up, go back and find out what the zoning was, that they got approval only if there were these signs, and make sure that you have an ordinance in place for all these, because right now it just seems absolutely crazy to me that you've got it like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3657 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3658 by title on second reading of the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3658?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 165 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Garbage, Rubbish, Refuse, and Recycling, at Section 165-15, Method of Service of Notice Contents, and at Section 165-17, Enforcement.
The public hearing is now open.
Good evening again. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. The document that we have in the audience about this ordinance says it has something to do with enforcement of dead and dangerous trees, but yet I read in the book over there this is about recycling and garbage. So there seems to be a disconnect. Is this about dead and dangerous trees, which is what the agenda says, or is this about recycling?
Trees.
It's about trees. That's where it's located in the code, believe it or not. I questioned that myself, and it was pointed out to me that this is where this is located.
But I just read the amendment, and the word trees isn't mentioned anywhere in there.
But if you read the code, you'll see that it does pertain to the notice for dead or dangerous trees. I know, it didn't make sense to me either. I questioned it, and he showed me, and I looked at it, and he's correct. The village engineer wrote this, but he is correct.
Well, I guess my comment, Ms. Maylander, is if it doesn't make any sense, why doesn't he straighten it out? So it does make sense.
I think we can adopt this, and then if we need to put it into a different section, we can certainly do that. But right now, this is the section that it fits in. It doesn't fit in another section.
But again, the amendment you're making, this says it's
I
enforcement
don't have
for
the
dead.
code book before me, okay? If I did, I could read you the code book, but I don't have it before me. It does make sense where it's placed.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache?
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3658 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3659 by title on second reading, that the public hearing thereon be opened.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. Will the clerk please the title of ordinance 3659?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 156 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Food and Food Handling Establishments, at Article 8, Outdoor Cafe, Section 156-92, Enforcement.
The public hearing is now open. Good evening.
Good evening. I should just stay up here. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. Posts on social media and comments made at this council over the years, maybe not this council, but various councils over the years, suggest that the violations with respect to the outdoor cafe ordinance occur most frequently in the evening, on Saturdays and on Sundays. So I see here that you've added more people to the list of people who can enforce this.
Correct.
But I guess my concern is how many of these people, regardless of how many you have named, actually come out on a Friday night, Saturday night, or a Sunday, where most of the offenses are occurring. Everything is nice and tidy on Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30, but it's the off hours in which people seem to be complaining about most notably on Saturday nights. All of a sudden, I understand somebody has added an extra table or two that they're not supposed to have, has moved their barrier to encroach on the sidewalk a little bit. So unless we have enforcement agents who are working during the hours where these alleged violations are most likely to incur, it doesn't do any good to add more agents to the pool. If everybody's going to work 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, that does no good. So I encourage you, you've named a lot of new people, to step up the enforcement during the hours in which these occurrences are alleged to have taken or be taking place. Thank you.
Anyone else? Just, Heather, I know we've changed some schedules around. I'm not sure what the personnel, who is when, what times, but
Well,
maybe you
I'm,
wanna shed some
I'm
light on
actually
that.
happy to report that in the last 4 weeks, we've had enforcement on the weekends twice, most recently this past weekend on Saturday night. So, but by adding additional, it'll make it easier to do so. And we, believe it or not, we have found violations during the day as well, because perhaps there are extra chairs stacked, or they've, what happens is sometimes they encroach into other properties that perhaps are closed, at a certain hour, and as the night goes on, they encroach. So we have found various violations. There's been close to 50 violations written, not only on the weekends, but during the week as well, during the day. So we're working on it, because we are trying to, make it safe for the pedestrians who are trying to pass through, as well as to keep them in compliance with what they proposed for their outdoor cafe.
Thank you. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3659 be adopted on second reading and final publication is required by law.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3660 by title on second reading, that the public hearing thereon be opened.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3660?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-29, Parking Meter Zone Designated.
The ordinance, as originally written, indicated that the hours for the parking meters would be Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Village Council has discussed this and has decided to make the hours for the parking meters on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., which means that these hours will remain unchanged from what currently exists. This amendment is not substantive change to the ordinance as written, so it may be considered for adoption as amended after the public hearing. At this time, I will accept the motion to amend ordinance 3660.
I move that ordinance 3660 be amended so that the parking meter hours on Saturday be changed from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that the number of hours at the meter on Saturdays be changed from 9 hours to 8 hours.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. The public hearing on ordinance 3660 as amended is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3660, as amended, be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3661 by title on second reading, and that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3661?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood fees and Section 145-6, enumeration of fees relating to code chapters.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3661 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Eden?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
The following resolutions, numbered 18-247 through 18-261, with the exception of resolutions 18-252, 18-253, and 18-254, which will be considered separately, are to be adopted on a consent agenda. With one vote by the village council, they will be read by title only. Title 59, approval of furnishing and delivering sodium bisulfite solution and sodium hypochlorite solution, water pollution control facility. Award contract, furnishing and delivering sodium bisulfite solution and sodium hypochlorite solution, water pollution control facility. Title 59, approval, furnishing laboratory analysis services, water pollution control facility, and grade and pool facility. Award contract, furnishing laboratory analysis services, water pollution control facility, and grade and pool facility. Award contract under state contract, portable radios, police department. Award contract under Bergen County contract, Toro Ground Master Lawnmower. Award contract HVAC upgraded at Village Hall. Designate a redeveloper and approve guaranteed maximum price. Redevelopment zone, Hudson Street parking lot, parking garage. Declare property surplus, police bulletproof vests. Approve replacement of bus shelter at Van Ness Square. Award contract under Bergen County contract, Western Star chassis, and appoint member to Ridgewood Arts Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yes.
Walsh?
Yes.
And Hache.
Yes.
Okay, so let me get these resolutions. So 18-252. Whereas there exists a need to purchase 2 new police vehicles to replace 2 vehicles that have exceeded their useful police life, and whereas 2 Chevrolet Tahoe 9C1 SUVs are available for purchase through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program, and whereas NJSAC 5:34-7.29 requires that purchases made under the State Cooperative Purchasing Program, which individually or cumulatively exceed the statutory limit of $17,500, be authorized by Village Council resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the purchase be affirmed with the following vendor: Day Chevrolet, 1600 Golden Mile Highway, Monroeville, Pennsylvania, care of Municipal Equipment Enterprise, Me, 2703 Fire Road, Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, and an amount not to exceed $72,649. And be it further resolved that this contract is awarded under New Jersey State Contract A89938 with an expiration date of May 26, 2018, with a letter of confirmation dated April 9, 2018. And be finally resolved that the Chief Financial Officer has certified that the funds are available in account C-04-55-9BT-127. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Seaton?
Yes.
Voigt?
Yeah, I understand these are expensive, but I also understand that I understand why we need them. And I also understand that, based on the way we're going to capitalize these versus expense them, that ultimately it's going to be less expensive for the village in doing it the way we're doing. SUVs are capitalized, and I understand that sedans and cars are expensed.
Correct.
So because of that, I say yes.
Okay, Walsh?
So I'm just going to make a couple of comments on this. So in the last meeting, when this first came up, I had asked some questions about why we need to purchase these pursuit vehicles. So in the interim, I had asked for some statistics on how often we actually do pursuits, and it was the data that I got from Ridgewood Police Department was maybe less than one a year for the past several years. And then there's other rules on pursuit regardless, that we typically don't do high-speed chases or pursuits in residential areas in the CBD. So that was the beginning of the conversation. And then I've owned a Tahoe. I know that they're big, bulky cars. So my next question was, why, if we're buying a pursuit vehicle, like what is the purpose of why we're buying this pursuit vehicle? Are we buying it for another reason? Some of the information that was gathered that two of the manufacturers are not going to be making, or Ford is perhaps not going to be making the Interceptor anymore. We already know they don't make the Crown Vic. And then the other, there was another sedan that wasn't going to be made, but we do still have the ability to buy another sedan that could be a pursuit vehicle if needed. So I was, I guess, more concerned that, I feel we need more patrol cars, not necessarily the big SUVs. Now, I understand that you can capitalize the SUVs as opposed to them being in the operating budget, but I just don't, I understand it, but I'm still on the fence about it, so I'm going to vote no.
Okay. And Hache?
Yeah, and this is one of the items from the last discussion that I guess triggered a lot of questions, which I think is very healthy and natural for us to look at these things. And I know with the pursuit package, my understanding was that it wasn't for the purpose of pursuit, but it's the package that these police vehicles, and I too have driven these large SUVs, still do. It's just to make them a bit more responsive in emergency maneuvers, not necessarily with a pursuit, but also because of the amount of equipment that these police vehicles now carry. It's a bit more spacious than the traditional cars as well. And obviously also the big advantage from a fiscal standpoint of being able to capitalize this expense over several years. So I'm going to vote yes.
Okay. So the next item is 18-253. Whereas there exists a need to purchase emergency warning lights, sirens, and other car equipment to be installed into two new Chevrolet Tahoe 9C1 SUVs for the Ridgewood Police Department, this purchase will be made through the State Cooperative Purchasing Program. And whereas NJAC 5:34-7.29 requires the purchases made under the State's Cooperative Purchasing Program, which individually or cumulatively exceed the statutory limit of $17,500, be authorized by Village Council resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the following vendor be affirmed for the purchase of Voiland and Santina emergency lights and equipment for the two new vehicles. Emergency accessories and installation, 770 Cuthbert Boulevard, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $34,864. And be further resolved that the contract is awarded under State Contract A-81336 with an expiration date of 7/26/18 with an undocumented extension date from State of New Jersey. And be finally resolved that the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available in accounts C-04-55-9BR-068 for $28,864 and C-04-55-9BT-128 for $6,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Seaton,
Yes.
Voigt,
Yes.
Walsh,
No.
and Hache.
Yes.
And 18-254. Whereas there exists a need to purchase two Motorola UHF mobile radios for the Ridgewood Police Department police cars. And whereas NJAC 30-17.8 requires that purchases made under the state's cooperative purchasing program, which individually or cumulatively exceed the statutory limit of $17,500, be authorized by Village Council resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the following vendor be affirmed: Motorola Radio, care of Regional Communication, 64 East Midland Avenue, Paramus, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $9,242. And be further resolved that they will supply 2 Motorola UHF radios under state contract A-8909 with an expiration date of 4/30/19. And be finally resolved that the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available in account C-04-55-9BT-127. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Seaton.
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
Walsh.
No.
And Hache.
Yes. All right, so with that, we go back to public comment not to exceed 5 minutes per person.
The last time you'll hear from me tonight. Boyd Loving, 342 South Irving Street. With all due respect to Ms. Maylander's comment concerning why Graydon Pool was closed, I think it was a bad decision. At 9:15, the sun was out, it was 78, 80 degrees. By 11 o'clock, it was 90 degrees. There was minor flooding in the parking lot. Anybody who came over to the parking lot at that time would have known that there was no flooding. Skies were clear. This is the second time it's happened this year. I'm not sure where we're getting the weather forecast from, but we need to get a new weather forecaster, or we need to make a decision that, okay, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to close in the morning, but everybody stand by. We may open at 1 or we may open at 12 noon. So it's my belief that that was a bad decision on Saturday, August 4th, to close for the entire day. I'd like to continue with Graydon and indicate that an email notice was sent out to the patrons indicating that the pool was going to be closed all day. Some people received the email, some people did not. I'm not sure what happened with that. I sent a letter to the manager indicating that I was one of the people who did not receive an email. My neighbor did. I asked what happened. I have not received a response yet. Also, continuing on the subject of notification, the last time I looked, this was year 2018. I believe that we can do a much better job in terms of notifying people when that pool is closed. The pool closes when the lightning detection system goes off. I see no reason whatsoever that there can't be some sort of text alert set up. So as soon as that lightning detection system goes off, people who subscribe to the text alert receive a text indicating that the pool is closed. When the pool reopens, if it reopens, as it may within an hour or two after the system goes off, somebody over in that pool manager's office could press one button and send a text message out to all the people who subscribe to it indicating the pool is reopened. We are surrounded by technological advances, but yet the way we know now whether the pool is open or closed, that there's a red, a green, or a yellow flag over there. That's not right. This is Ridgewood, not someplace else. We do things right in Ridgewood. Can we get on the ball and start to use technology to notify people when things are going to happen? There's another reason that people should be keyed in to when that lightning detection system goes off, and it has to do with games that are played on the field. If you're about to pack up your car and bring your 3 or 4 kids over for a game on the field and the lightning detection system is going off, it would be nice to know that before you pack up your car and come over and find out that I made the drive for nothing. Again, I don't understand why we can't do that. I get text alerts for many things. Why can't this village get on the ball and have notifications set up on websites, on Facebook pages, via text, so that people know when things are happening? People were clamoring for information as to why the pool was closed on Saturday and went everywhere trying to find official word on what happened and got none, could find none. That's inexcusable. Why wasn't a notice posted somewhere as to what was going on? Again, this is 2018. Technology is available at our fingertips and we're not using it. So, can we look into setting up some sort of technology to notify people when things are happening, when athletic fields are closed, when the pool is closed. It would be nice to know so we don't waste a lot of time getting in our cars and driving for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hello again.
Holiday again, 374 Evergreen. One question I have, and I really, it's a subject I know nothing about, but 18258, as far as disposing of the surplus vests, any chance they might end up in the wrong hand when you dispose of them? How do you dispose of them? Whom do they go to? And I don't want the bad guy to end up buying a bulletproof vest cheap. Now, I might be highly, highly scared here, but I'm not really scared, but something one should look into. The other thing is the bus shelter. At some point, wouldn't it make sense for us to have a public bathroom next to the bus shelter? I mean, I wasn't here last weekend, but I listened to the talk, to the meeting, and there was some talk of people relieving themselves in the parks, which I think is, unfortunate, but sometimes people have to do what they need to do. And I realize, I know in Europe they have these beautiful oval bathrooms that you put in your 25 cents or 50 cents or whatever it is, but then they have a thing where after 15 minutes the door opens so you can't go to sleep there. So, so it's something I think that one should do. Then as far as the previous speaker, I hate to disappoint him, Ridgewood doesn't do it right. Our whole system, our ERP system is just so antiquated, whether it's the website, whether it's somehow, and again, Mr. Hache, another merit badge for you, would be to sit down and go through the ERP system from A to Z. If it's going to cost $100,000, $1 million, that would also include things like notifying people, how to notify people, etc. Ridgewood is so antiquated. I know some time back I had got a parking ticket, which I really should not have because I do have a sticker, and it took forever. I mean, it took more time. Speaking to the policeman, and he coming down to look at the car to make sure I did have a parking, that must have cost him 15, 20 minutes, when in fact he had no record in Village Hall as to who actually has a parking permit, if you will. So I urge you, and this is something, Mr. Hache, and again, as I said before, I never voted for you, and maybe someday I will, and I do want you to be successful, but set up a listing of 4 or 5 things so you don't have in 2 years come up with some fiction like a couple of the people running for election about their achievements, which really were not achievements. But I want you to achieve things. So set up 2 or 3 or 4 simple things that you can achieve for the village. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. One more?
One comment. Hi, Cynthia Hallaby, 374 Evergreen Place. I'm a little confused. I had correspondence with Miss Maylander, and I thought at some point the train station parking was on the agenda. I believe I read it, and there was discussion, and it's not on the agenda. When does one find out?
We pulled it.
But when does one find out that things are canceled? There was no notice saying item removed, or is this not something that we should be updated on?
Yeah, ideally this would happen much sooner. Last minute, we just wanted to look into a little bit further into some of the things.
Okay.
So we pulled it.
All right. No, I was confused because it was, and then.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but it will be on the September 5th?
It will be in September 5th, right.
September 5th will be on.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Right, so and there was a question about how we dispose of the bulletproof vests. I cannot begin to.
My understanding is they're destroyed. How are they destroyed? I don't know, but they are destroyed. So they're not passed on, they're not sold, they're not passed down, they're destroyed completely.
All right, so with that, we'll close public comment, and I'll take a resolution to go into closed session.
Sure. Let me just make one more comment. Mr. Hallaby, we do have a record of who has permits, parking permits. So if it was an issue of finding that, I'm surprised.
Being highly, highly constructive. I got a ticket. I was parking at the railroad station, and the reason for it is I have a brand new car with very heavily tinted windows, and you really, and I'm not blaming the guy writing the ticket because he couldn't see it. So I came here to the parking people, and the two ladies just couldn't give a damn. Said, oh, just show up in court and contest it with the judge. I said, I'm not going to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous. And finally someone said, oh, well, go to the police. I went to the police, and the policeman, I can't remember his name, but he was fantastic, really nice guy. And he had no access. He had no access to all the people who have parking permits.
Well, he wasn't contacting the reception desk because they do have access, and most police know that. So I'm surprised that he didn't look into that.
Obviously, he did not know. Somehow,
Well, we'll get that word out.
The policeman at his desk should be able to get into the system and see who has it. In fact, the guy who issued the ticket, somehow he should have known. Somehow the ticket is very official. It's printed on a computer, all that. That should know that this guy does have a ticket. So, and then at the parking desk, it's all by hand, and whose name, and it isn't alphabetical, it's maybe by date, etc. So it's a very, very awkward system.
It's on a spreadsheet. It's on an Excel spreadsheet, actually.
Well, Heather, I beg you, speak to the two ladies here.
I will.
Speak to the police.
I will.
They weren't talking to each other. They weren't talking to the front desk.
I'll figure it out, but we do have it automated, so I will find out why they didn't have access.
Yeah,
Okay?
I know. Again, I'm being very constructive because, in fact, I wrote a letter to you all, and I was really, really complimentary of a policeman. I can't think of his name. He has an Italian-sounding name. He was a fantastic guy, very, very friendly. But I felt bad for him because he was making, I don't know how much he makes per year, and it took him about 20 minutes to go with me to look and come back, and he didn't even think of going down to the front desk. Anyway, I'm being very constructive, Heather.
Okay. No, I appreciate your input, but I'll certainly try to figure out why they don't have access and try to give it to them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so, be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on August 8th, 2018 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter on the agenda can be reached. And that said closed session be held in the caucus room of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. And be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to legal matters to include Ridgewood Water Department and Hudson Street Parking Garage Project. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 et sec. And be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public when such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.